everyone, this is Southernbelle 74 and this is the national news. Let's get into the latest breaking stories. I know by now you guys have heard about the Dalai Lama and that infamous kiss and sucking of the tongue. He has now apologized after he faced allegations of inappropriate behavior after kissing a young boy on the lips and asking him to suck his tongue. This was at a public event in India.
The Dalai Lama is apologizing for this exchange with a young boy during a recent event in India. The child's face is blurred to protect his identity. According to reports, the child asked the spiritual leader for a hug. The Lama hugged the child and then allegedly asked the boy to, quote, suck my tongue. The incident is sending shockwaves across the world, causing His Holiness to issue an apology to his 19 million followers on Twitter. It reads in part, His Holiness wishes to apologize to the boy and his family, as well as his many friends across the world, for the hurt his words may have caused. His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way, even in public and before cameras. He regrets the incident. The 87-year-old Dalai Lama is the spiritual leader of Tibet, a nation claimed by China. He's been living in exile in India since 1959 after a failed uprising against the Chinese government, which considers him to be a dangerous separatist. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Mara Montalbano.
Thank you, Inside Edition, for that news segment. Let's move on into more national news, where Louisville has just had a mass shooting. A bank employee live streamed the attack that has killed 5 victims. He walked in with a rifle and opened fire at his workplace. This happened on Monday, killing 5 people as well as himself. Police arrived as shots were still being fired inside the Old National Bank, and the shooter was killed in an exchange of gunfire. This marks the 15th mass shooting in this country this year. Let's get into this news clip.
Tonight, tragically, a 5th person has died from their injuries after a former employee opened fire at a bank in Louisville, Kentucky.
These are the faces of the victims, ranging in age from 45 to 63. Earlier today, people gathered at a church holding vigil for those victims and the others who were injured in the attack.
CBS 2's Dick Brennan joins us now with what we know tonight. Dick.
Christina Maurice, the gunman had worked at the bank for 2 years and had been a summer intern there before that. After he opened fire this morning with an AR-style assault rifle, police responded quickly, likely saving lives.
333 Main, Old National Bank. Another caller advising possibly 8 to 9 people have been shot.
The gunfire erupted at the Old National Bank building in downtown Louisville. The gunman entered the bank before it even opened.
We heard a click, and the lady next to me turned around and said, "What the hell?" And then he just started shooting.
Troy Haste escaped, barely.
Whoever's next to me got shot and hit bloods on me from it.
Arriving Louisville police exchanged gunfire with the shooter.
Have a description of a white male, Connor, 6 feet tall, light blue shirt, dark colored pants.
Louisville police identified the gunman as 25-year-old Connor Sturgeon, an employee of the bank who was live streaming his attack.
The suspect shot at officers. We then returned fire and stopped that threat. The suspect is deceased.
A SWAT team searched the gunman's home as investigators tried to figure out a motive.
He texted a friend, called a friend, left a voicemail. He's going to kill everyone at the bank, feeling suicidal.
The shooting left 5 people dead, including 64-year-old James Tutt, 45-year-old Juliana Farmer, 40-year-old Joshua Barrick, 57-year-old Deanna Eckert, and 63-year-old Thomas Elliott. He was a close friend of Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear.
Today, I'm hurt, and I'm hurting. And I know so many people out there are as well.
Among those critically wounded, Officer Nicholas Wilt, 26 years old, on the job just 10 days.
I just swore him in, and his family was there to witness his journey.
Now, of the 6 people hospitalized, 3, including that police officer, are in critical condition. 3 others are still being treated for injuries that are not life-threatening. Maurice and Christine.
Dick, thank you.
All right, such sad news. Now we're going to move on to a case that's been very interesting in the news. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but it's the case of Lori Vallow Daybell. It's the Idaho mom who was accused of unaliving her 2 children. The murder trial has been captivating. The deaths have drawn widespread scrutiny, speculation, and sensationalism, and has also been the subject of a Netflix documentaries. I didn't know that Netflix is doing a documentary on them as well. In front of 12 jurors and 6 alternatives, the prosecutors and defense attorneys painted a vastly different picture of Vallow Daybell. Meanwhile, the state-appointed defense attorney, Mr. Archibald, is portraying her as a kind and loving mother. He argued that the prosecutors don't really know who Daybell really is. Daybell and her husband have both pleaded guilty to a slew of charges, including murder, conspiracy, and grand theft, in the deaths of her children, Joshua, 7 years of age, and Tylee, 16. They were last seen in 2019. Let's get into this news clip.
Idaho mom Lori Vallow Daybell, she's going on trial almost 3 years after her arrest on charges of killing 2 of her children. Her husband is being tried separately. Dan Abrams standing by with his analysis of the case. First, Mola Lengi joins us from Boise, Idaho. Good morning, Mola.
Well, good morning, George. The 49-year-old is facing life in prison after prosecutors say she used her apocalyptic religious beliefs to justify the murders of her 2 children.
This morning in Idaho, Lori Vallow Daybell will stand trial before a jury. Vallow Daybell on trial for killing her 2 children, 7-year-old JJ and 17-year-old Tylee, plus a 3rd murder, her husband Chad's previous wife, Tammy. Prosecutors allege all 3 murders were part of a doomsday plot.
They've been at this for a long time, for several years now, pushing to get this case to trial and finally getting the people responsible for it to sit in front of a jury and be prosecuted for the charges.
The grandparents of Vallow's son reported the children missing in 2019 after Vallow privately married Chad Daybell in Hawaii and joined his religious group.
Can you tell me where your kids are, Chad and Lori?
In divorce papers, Vallow's ex-husband Charles said Lori believed she was a godlike figure who called the children zombies and said she was sent to usher in the apocalypse.
Ever since she's been involved in this doomsday cult, that is not the same Lori that we knew for 13 years.
After 9 months of searching, the children's remains were found in a shallow grave on their stepfather's property. When Vallow was arrested in February of 2020, Daybell insisted the kids are safe.
Is there anything that you would like to say to people at all who are, number one, concerned about the kids?
We just have to wait for the legal process to work through.
Several more deaths occurring within months of JJ and Tylee's disappearance. Chad's ex-wife, Tammy's death, originally ruled natural before investigators alleged Lori and Chad killed her in order to collect her life insurance money. In the summer of 2019, Lori Vallow's now deceased brother, Alex Cox, killed her previous husband, Charles Vallow, in what was originally ruled self-defense. The couple has maintained their innocence, pleading not guilty to the charges. If convicted, Vallow could face life in prison without parole after the death penalty was taken off the table.
They would hope that it would be a guilty verdict on both cases, not just Lori's, but the other case.
Well, Chad Daybell, also charged in the murder of the 2 children, will have a separate trial. A trial date has not yet been set, George.
Okay, Mola, thanks very much. It's our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams.
Yes, this case is just like a mystery. It's all kinds of twists and turns. It's almost like a telenovela. All right, let's go into our final story of this evening, and it is concerning the ousted Tennessee representative who has gotten his job back. Nashville has sent Justin Jones back to the Tennessee House days after the GOP lawmakers had ousted him. Let's get into this news clip.
If you're just tuning into MSNBC, this is live footage of Justin Jones, who has been reinstated to the state legislature in Tennessee. The Nashville Metro Council has voted to reinstate him. He is processed with a group, a multiracial coalition of supporters who have flanked him as he's walked into the state legislature, preparing to retake his seat in that body, a body that expelled him in a 72-25 vote just a few days ago. He is holding his placard, showing his placard to the crowd. That is the placard that he will put on his desk when he rejoins his colleagues in the state legislature representing the metropolitan Nashville area. This is an area that is one of the most vibrant metropolitan areas in Tennessee. It's an incredibly multiracial area. Lots of minorities live here. It's a major metropolitan area with lots of industry. And again, Justin Jones has been very clear. He wants to represent all of the individuals in Nashville and their interests, and one of their core issues is fighting against the gun violence that has scarred their community, never more so than in recent weeks with the Covenant shooting at that Nashville school. So he is waiting to retake his seat. He's flanked by Gloria Johnson. She is another one of those three legislators who was threatened with expulsion from the chamber. She was not expelled. She survived by just one vote last week, but she is here as an ally for her colleagues, and she's vowed to continue working with Justin Pearson and Justin Jones to fight for the people of Knoxville, Nashville, and Memphis, all major metropolitan areas in Tennessee.
This is it, folks. This is it. This is it. It's happening right now. This is it.
Being told this is it, the moment's about to happen, the doors are opening, and Justin Jones is re-entering the chamber at the Tennessee State Legislature to tremendous applause.
All right. Now we're going to close out. I have been doing a tremendous amount of shorts. I'm new to doing them, but I've learned that celebrity shorts really get a lot of views. So I'm going to close out with two of my highest ranked shorts this week. One is featuring Tina Turner, and I entitled it Simply the Best. And then we have my newest one, which is Kelly Rowland, The Many Shades of Kelly Rowland. I love fashion, and so these ladies are very fashionable and trend-setting. I hope you enjoy that. We're going to close with our mantra, and it is, if you don't change, don't expect anything else in your life to change. All right, you guys take care, and please like, share, and subscribe, and continue to tune in to Southern Belle 74 as I give you news that you can use.
you.